Restaurant Unstoppable. Inspire, empower, and transform the industry. So what were the biggest challenges for you as a solo restaurateur?
I mean, so many challenges. It was, doing a lease without partners. I had.
You did point out that you had the mentorship of your previous partners that you went to.
Yeah, I mean, they were amazing, so helpful. But what I knew was really important and valuable is to, find. There are certain things that you save money on, and you need to, skim here and there and find better deals or whatever. Legal advice and professional advice, like an attorney or tax accountant or whatever, is not something worth skimping on.
No.
And I was fortunate to find a really great attorney who's been an amazing partner with us to just kind of help us along the way. Helped us out big time with this lease and did a great job. So valuable. So, going through the lease, doing that on my own was a huge challenge because I had never done all that on my own.
Yeah, I got to draw attention to an episode I recently recorded, a workshop with David Halbrin. He's an attorney out of New York City, super well-known attorney. We did a whole episode on best practices for lease negotiations. So check out episode 861 if you're listening to this. And you're like, I should probably do some homework on that.
I'm going to go back and
We addressed it. Yeah, check it out, please. Keep going.
So other big challenges, as a kind of solo restaurateur, it starts with first of all, it starts with the concept, but the lease is so important, and setting yourself up for the future and thinking 5, 10 years, 15 years down the road, and what does that pro forma and your business plan look like when your rent increases at what year, and what sort of securities do you have, and what is the landlord responsible for versus you responsible for?
What are some aspects of your lease that would have been present to this day if you didn't have an attorney there to advise you against it?
They were able to really first of all, our landlords were great to work with. So there wasn't that much that
they weren't trying to screw you.
No, absolutely not. They're so fair. They're very good people. They want us to succeed.
If you succeed, they succeed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
all ships rise.
But they were able to understand that, you don't know when you're going to open.
There's a pandemic.
Yeah. In the best of times in a restaurant opening,
you still don't know.
You're 3 months behind. Yeah. That's just how it goes.
You're doing good if you're 3 months
You're
behind.
doing good. Yeah, exactly. So, being able to help work into the lease that, we're not paying rent until, X date to ensure that we can get the restaurant open and start bringing in cash to, build up the inventory, pay the first round, a couple rounds of payroll, and then let's start talking about rent. So that was really important because rent is a huge expense. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest in a restaurant.
Yeah. What percentage would you say is a good number to be your rent of your total cost?
I think it's impossible to say each year because sales are going to grow each year. Your rent's going to increase each year. But if you can look at like a 10-year average, and this is something that I learned working with my partners at SRV, which is another valuable tool.
Yeah.
We always looked at like a 6% number, but that number changes. It really depends on your concept. If you are...
Sounds like the Robo-Coo's going.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And, if you are a concept that is going to have high labor because maybe you believe in paying people more, higher, you want to make sure everybody has paid time off. You want to have all these benefits, then maybe you need to find a place that the rent is going to be 4% of your sales.
Yeah.
Because your labor is going to be 2% higher. Mm-hmm. 1% here and there, you got to shift it.
A point makes a big difference.
If you're going to do a pizza restaurant and you think your food cost might be 25%, that's great. Then you can throw a couple more percents into labor to take care of the people that work with you and make sure that they have what they need to succeed and to grow financially. So it really depends. But I think if you look at like a 10-year average, sales typically, depending upon the concept, depending upon where you are in the country, they're going to grow pretty fast, like year 2 and 3. And they might like hit a little bit of a plateau at a certain point where...
Law of diminishing returns.
Exactly.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen. So, the rent increases don't necessarily stop unless you are smart enough or capable enough to know, all right,
Have that foresight.
it's gonna pop off in like year 3. I'm gonna crush the sales. We're finally gonna know who we are as a business. And
But at year 6 and 7,
right,
and they say about every 5 years you have to refresh. You've
Yeah.
got about a 5-year runway on things on your status quo. After that 5th year, what's going to change? How are we going to stay fresh? How can we bring people back? Because people don't, I mean, it's your regulars, they'll be loyal for only so long until there's something else that pulls them away. And there's things that can pull them away. So you have to pull them back. It can't just be relationships. Your employees might go on and do different things, you know? So you can't rely on your employees to be there for their entire career, you know,
Right.
like they're going to grow too. So you got to stay fresh.
absolutely.
So what I'm hearing from you is that what you worked into the lease is basically you give yourself a little bit more runway to guarantee success.
Exactly. And we couldn't have done that without our attorneys or finding the right landlord, because that's so important. Your landlord, if you're fortunate enough to buy your own real estate, good for you. That's amazing. That'd be the best case scenario, obviously, but that's not the case for most first, second time restaurant owners. It's a landlord is your partner in a lot of ways. And if you can't find somebody that you want to work with, because you're going to have to call them for things and they're going to have to call you for things. And, it needs to be somebody that you trust. It needs to be somebody that you respect, that, ask around. If they're landlords and they own other real estate, go ask those businesses. Hey, how's this person as a landlord?
I should know. Yeah.
Are they good people?
Yeah.
Are they fair?
If you see people's eyes get really big when you ask the question,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, they're great.
Yeah, they're fine. Yeah. And then look at the building too. That's really important too, because that'll tell the story of how invested, not only financially, but also like emotionally they are, and how much they care about the businesses there. If you go to a building that has 4 retail units and you're thinking about leasing one of those spaces, and the exterior of the building looks not good.
Yeah.
And the driveways or the landscaping is kind of
Things aren't going to change for you.
Nothing's changing for you.
Yeah.